What's up guys, Tom here from Metalloud, and I am here to review the new album from Blink-182 called California. It's been 5 years since we've last gotten a Blink-182 full-length album, and a lot has changed in that time period. Most notably, Tom DeLonge, a founding member of Blink-182, has departed from the band. A little bit of controversy around that where Mark and Travis, both say that Tom left the band, talk about how uncooperative he was as far as recording. Their last album, Neighborhoods, was actually recorded almost completely separately from each other, with Travis and Mark doing their parts and Tom recording his parts, and completely separate from the rest of the band. And you kind of got a sense that things were kind of falling apart at that time. They'd already been on a hiatus back in 2005 where things weren't so great, and this is the point where they kind of finally broke off from Tom, who was really kind of the troublesome member of the group, who was really kind of causing these breakdowns and things like that with the band, the hiatus and everything like that. And in his place, we get Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio. And honestly, he is a perfect fit for this band, and I think really California demonstrates that. This isn't the first member change that Blink-182 has gone through. Their actual original drummer left, and you had Travis replacing him. So this is actually the second lineup change, with now Mark being the only original member of the trio. And for anybody out there who's worried about California sounding like Blink-182 trio, combination of Alkaline Trio and Blink-182, don't really need to worry too much. It feels a lot like Blink-182, classic Blink-182. I liked Neighborhoods a lot. I felt like it kind of took everything that we liked about Blink-182 and kind of pushed into a more mature direction. But at the same time, it didn't really feel a lot like a Blink-182 album. It felt like Tom DeLonge was kind of influencing that album way too much with his Angels and Airwaves project, or band that he's in primarily now. And it kind of suffered for that. It didn't feel like a cohesive album. It really just felt like you could really feel that they were doing their parts separately, that they probably weren't writing together even, and it's kind of messy. This album is way better. It's a step up. There's a lot of that progression still in there, but yeah, it goes way back to classic Blink-182 sounds, and you get that right off the bat with the song Cynical, which I really, really like. It really feels more like classic Blink-182, something we might have heard off of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, but yet it's still a more mature side of Blink-182. And then you get songs like Sober, which is this kind of pop-punk song about making mistakes and things, and it's definitely catchy as hell, and because of that, I really like it. You have the song Only Thing That Matters, which is probably my favorite song off this album, which really, really feels like a classic Blink-182 song. It's just under 2 minutes long, and there's a few other songs that are short, like the Built This Pool and Bohemian Rhapsody, which are about 30 seconds long or so, but they feel like classic Blink-182 songs. And the only thing I don't like is that they actually kind of leave you wanting more of that sound, and kind of wishing that they would incorporate more of that into it. There's definitely a lot of that in here, but you kind of, those little tastes of that sound make me kind of want a little bit more from the band to kind of go back like that. And other bands that grew up, were up around the same time as Blink-182, for instance, New Found Glory, their last album, Resurrection, really, really felt like something that would have been released in 1999 in a good way. And while this album doesn't feel like that, I can't say this sounds exactly like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, or, oh, this sounds like it would have come right after that. It still incorporates a lot of that sound, and it's something I really like off of it. And you still get those more progressive tracks, like, for instance, the song Left Alone really feels like something off of Neighborhoods with Tom's influence and his guitar writing. It's not a bad thing. I kind of a boring track. I'm not really into that one, but it's still nothing bad. It doesn't bring the album down in any way, anything like that. You have Home is Such a Lonely Place, which actually does kind of feel like something off of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, in the same sense that it's kind of a sad ballady song, much like Adam's song or Stay Together for the Kids. It's okay. It's definitely does its job. It's emotional, but I'm not really into that stuff. So for me, it's not really anything special on there, but it's a good track. I can definitely see that one getting some radio play. For me, the standout track is probably the one that sounds least like Blink-182, which is the song Los Angeles. It's just such a really weird track. It's got this more kind of alternative rock sound to it. It reminds me almost of the band Unwritten Law, but I really like it. It does something completely different than what we've expected from Blink-182, and it does it very, very well. And that's kind of something about this whole album. It feels like they all fit in together. This doesn't just feel like Matt Skiba's coming in to replace Tom and he's just there. I was a little bit worried when I heard the track Rabbit Hole, for instance, and even Bored to Death, where Mark and Matt kind of sound very, very similar in their vocal styles. That, for instance, for Bored to Death, I didn't even actually realize that Matt Skiba had a part in that until I kind of listened to it a few more times. I thought that was all Mark the whole way through. Rabbit Hole, which is actually another track I really, really like off of this album. They released it as a single prior to the release. Matt Skiba kind of feels like a guest vocalist on that song. I don't think his part in that song really fits as well as it could have. It's definitely a great part. I like that track, like I said, but his part just kind of feels almost like a guest vocalist on it. And I was worried that that's how the album would sound. And thankfully it does not. He really fits into it. His guitar work fits into the band. Everything fits in, as well as, even the song that people are saying kind of sounds like a rejected B-side of Alkaline Trio. I actually kind of really like. It's No Future. It's a song that's really kind of grown on me. The first time I listened to it, I wasn't too into it, but the intro to it, the beginning of it really sounds like something ripped right off of at Blink-182, like Enema of the State or anything like that. And I actually kind of really enjoy that song after I've given it a few listens. And that's definitely something that's true of a lot of these songs. The album, when I first listened to it, I liked it, but it really wasn't kind of capturing me. And the more and more I listen to it, the more and more I actually like it, because there are some fantastic songs on here. There are some songs that are just great, catchy pop punk tunes like Kings of the Weekend or She's Out of Her Mind. And like I mentioned, even the song Bored to Death kind of has that pop punk feel to it. And I really, really enjoy that. They've kind of taken that genre and elevated it a little bit with this album versus some of their other contemporaries that feel stuck in that time period, in that era. And some of these songs are definitely are immature a little bit, like definitely Bohemian Rhapsody and Built This Pool but they're kind of done in a fun way, and I really enjoy that. These are 4-year-old guys who are making these music, and there is a point where you definitely got to grow up a little bit. Neighborhoods definitely was a way more mature album, but it wasn't the style that they've had, and it really didn't feel like they were happy with it. It really kind of felt like it was Mark and Travis kind of going along with Tom and just saying, okay, we'll do this, we'll make these songs, this is what you want, let's just get this so we can at least get an album out. And this really feels like they went into the studio and wrote songs that they wanted to write. They feel like they are, songs that they want to write, they want to perform, that they want to do, and you really feel that on this album. So for California, definitely check this out if you're a Blink-182 fan. If you're not a Blink-182 fan, this might be something that might actually change your mind about the band. It's done very well. It feels cohesive. Any worries that you may have had about this feeling weird, or again feeling like Matt Skiba was just kind of there on this album, just don't worry about it. It feels cohesive. It feels like this is back to Blink-182 the way they should be. Thank you guys so much for watching the review of California by Blink-182. Don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this album. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Metalloud, as well as like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Metalloud, to stay up to date with everything. And again, I rarely ask this, but if you can, I do have a Patreon. It's linked down below. If you want to donate anything, I very much appreciate that. It kind of keeps the site alive and keeps me doing what I'm doing for you guys. So again, thank you so much. It's Tom from Metalloud signing off.